So, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mukesh Sharma, and very warm welcome to all the audience of UTalks all across the globe. And as you know that UTalks is bringing discussions, sessions, and interviews with great personalities in area of technology or arts or the life, knowledge or sports. But today, what we are all grappling with, we have a very special guest, and I would like to welcome Brahma Kumari, Sister Sapna. Om Shanti. Welcome,
Om Shanti.
Welcome, Sister Sapna, to UTalks. So kind of you to give your time amidst your busy schedule, because I can see that on a daily basis you're occupied giving several talks and mentoring a lot of people. I also saw that tomorrow also you are engaged in one of the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav festival proceedings with the Consul General in Guangzhou as well. So on a daily basis, I keep following you on Facebook, and we have got your blessings when you were in China, and we did a great program on harmony in relationships in 2018-19 for the Indian community in Shanghai. And as you know, we just discussed before we started the program that the world is going through this pandemic disorder or a new order. And because of that, all things are stuck and things have been changing. So I was thinking that we are all going through those different stressful moments. We're all grappling with it. We're all constantly struggling with it. And I was thinking that I must go back and seek some of your mentorship, which could be queries or challenges which I am personally facing, and probably similar queries and challenges may be faced by many other people who are in my network or probably who are in similar kind of scenario or atmosphere. And I was thinking that, which topic should I take? I should, which topic should I think of? And then I realized that we all live in relationships. We all are interdependent in society. We have dependence on each other. And the harmony in relationships is something which came again to my mind, where you really mesmerized us with different set of questions, because it was a live physical session. So today, ladies and gentlemen, we will be talking to Sister Sapna and seeking her guidance and her mentorship, that what happens to harmony in relationships, why they are very important. And Sister Sapna, I have one question which I will straightforward go into through one of our friends, is that, in these stressful times, we start expecting a lot from each other and a lot from many other relationships which are around us. And in last 2-3 years, I have felt personally, and I have also heard many stories, that relationships start falling apart as well, whether they are in families or extended families or friends. So the one question which comes is that, what is the basis of these relationships? Is it between two physical bodies? Is it between whom, and why it, so fragile? So this would be probably a guidance we would need from you.
First of all, I would like to thank you for inviting me on your platform and giving me this opportunity to share my views on this topic, because I also feel that, as you mentioned, that this is, I would say, very important topic as of now and forever, actually, because it is always that we are surrounded by different kinds of relations, and that is the basic need of a human being, right? Whether it is family or at workplace or in whichever way. We have to deal with people and we want to be with people.
Right.
Human being is a social being. So when you say that relations have become very fragile, I want to say that, as you mentioned in the beginning, that we have been expecting a lot from each other. And the reason is that when I feel lack of something, I expect that emptiness to be filled by something which I feel that I can get from the other person. And maybe in the past, if two people are living together for a long time, suppose, we are kind of complementary to each other, we are supporting each other, because as a human nature, we want to support also. Where we feel loved, where we feel that, yes, this is a bond, we want to support each other as much as we can. But always it is not possible. Suppose when you are getting something that you expect from the other person, you start building up more expectations for futures to come. So this is what is happening when suddenly this world is going through a kind of a big change, a big transformation, which most of us, I would say all of us, were not ready for,
Right.
at least not for this kind of change. So everyone, on the one hand, is trying to handle their own selves, their inner self, their business, their different aspects of their life. At the same time,
Right.
it's becoming more difficult to handle the expectations from the other person. When you are already handling a lot inside your mind, you're dealing with a lot of pressures and stress. At the same time, the other person from whom you expect a kind of understanding,
Right.
and that time when the other person is also expecting something which gives you additional pressure, so it becomes difficult to handle. At this point of time, I feel that we really have to make some time to understand each other. That is very, very important, where we can just open our heart and sit with each other, especially with the close relations.
Right.
So
Right.
this is very important as of now.
Sister Sapna, you mentioned a very beautiful concept or point, that inner self. So, do you also feel, and maybe we need some guidance, that when in troubled times or in these times, which are different times, does our expectation to even ourself, or maybe relationship of the self to the self, does that also changes? Or do we need to even dig deeper to understand that first before we start even thinking what happens our relationship with others when it comes to inner self? Because you mentioned that we're going through changes in inner self as well.
Yeah, that's right. And I would say that this is a time to reflect upon that what kind of relationship I was having in the past also with myself.
Mhm.
Because when nobody is there saying anything to me, what am I talking to myself in the face of different situations or challenges, or because things around me are changing all the time and quite uncertain. We don't know what is going to happen tomorrow. But in that situation, anything, positive or negative, that is outside. But at that time, what am I talking to myself? What is that? What kind of self talk I have? Is it that I appreciate myself only on the basis of my material achievements? Or maybe I have been appreciating myself for a long time only on the basis of material achievements or financial gains, or kind of things I have acquired in life in a tangible way.
Right.
So if I am just connecting my worth, my value,
Right.
when I talk to myself,
Mhm.
in relation to all those achievements which are visible, then of course, when something goes down externally, then I start feeling low within, because I was calculating my worth, my inner value on the basis of external achievements. So
Right.
this is the time to fix that inner relationship with myself, and changing the way I talk to myself. It's the time to mentor, to be my own mentor.
Understood. So I was talking to one of my friend who was going through a difficult time, and maybe more difficult time, and he was saying that he is getting very irritated with the family members, he's getting irritated with others, friends, even the his job as well, with the boss, and everything starts falling around himself. His whole ecosystem. And he also mentioned that the insecurity has caused him to behave very differently with even with himself. So how to create that sense of security, or create that right feeling, a right atmosphere, so that at least you can maintain a good relationship with yourself first?
One thing I would like to say, like with this example of your friend, when he is sharing this feeling with you, it's
Right.
very much clear that he knows that the way he's getting irritated is not right.
Mhm.
And actually, he doesn't want to.
Right.
He wants to behave in a right way, but because of some other frustrations and insecurity, that's not possible for him to control his emotions. So the main thing is that to feel secure, how to feel secure.
Right.
Two things I would like to say. First thing is that I need to separate myself from my position, my designation, my all the things that I have gained from this world, attained from this world after coming into this world. You
Right.
know, that was not with me when I came. When I was sent by God, that was not with me. I have gained it maybe by virtue of my birth, or it can be because of my own efforts, my uh, throughout my life, my education, my qualification, and whatever effort I have made.
Right.
This is what is visible. But the second part is my karma.
Right.
If I understand this hidden principle, which is very, very important to understand, that what you give, you will get.
Right.
We are insecure when we are thinking of an uncertain future, wherein I feel that things are going down,
Right.
or it's falling down. Then I start visualizing a negative future,
Right.
which is actually not happening right now, but it is happening in my mind. So instead of that, if I start creating a belief that I am good, I
Right.
just pay attention to my own goodness, and what I give out, what I spread out in this world, in terms of relations or whoever comes in my connection, if I spread out good or goodness, the goodness is going to come back. So I will never feel insecure. Maybe there are shadows sometimes, but that is temporary. Nothing is permanent. So this shall also pass. I need to really remind myself that.
So you mentioned that detachment to whatever you have got will make you more secure, because that is a good feeling to have. Because another thing I would also mention is that I have seen in the last 2.5 years of this pandemic, a lot of people in India, even in other countries, expressing, some people do not express, but some have, losing their businesses, going down and operating at half or maybe even the 25% of volume or money they used to make. They are still surviving through the savings, etc. they had, but still they're not able to come out of it. And I have found them that they are sometimes they lose hope. So how they should feel a sense of security, or how should they feel that sense of hope in future when this trying time is not ending as well? What hope they should feel about? You said this will also pass, but then what else they can do to feel secure?
Um, I would say that first most important thing in this situation, as you mentioned, the answer lies in your question. They are still surviving.
Right, right, right. This is
And when I realize that I'm still surviving, and maybe when I compare to 5 years ago, 10 years ago, what was the situation of my business, or the profits or the volume of the business, whatever terms, if I compare with that, then I might feel that it's going down and I'm waiting for the same thing to come back again. But sometimes there is something else which is coming in my life, and I'm not looking at that. In the trying times, in these difficult times, I might be gaining some other strengths, some other experiences, which might be quite useful in my future to come, future opportunities, maybe some other opportunities waiting for me. That is one thing. But in the present moment also, I feel most important thing is having an attitude of gratitude, which is very important. What I have as of now,
right,
maybe other people don't even have that much. So what I have right now, I should be thankful and grateful for that, because this is a universal law. If I am grateful for something, that thing stays with me
right.
longer.
And it's a beautiful thought that even in the trying times, if they are going through and they are losing and they have lost a lot of materialistic things, but they should always look at the strengths they have able to develop during this survival period, and also the attitude of gratitude that still they are much better probably as compared to many others, and that definitely helps. Yeah, I think this is a very good thought, and this brings a lot of security, because this gives a lot of strength as well. So when people are going through all this, what should be, and they go into reflection as well. While talking to you, I am myself going into some reflection. What should be the priority in life then? Because once when everything is fine, you're in the rat race.
When it started, when it was a very strict lockdown in the beginning, I have dealt with many people online and offline also after that. And people are sharing their reflections and realizations. They have lots of realization. For some people, it was very temporary, that realization, but for some of them, it continued even after that when they passed through that time. But yes, definitely, I have to find out one key point, one key area where I should be focusing, what is most important for me, which is actually my own self. You know, situations, they come and go, they just pass.
Right.
Before also, we have seen many things in our life. If you just look back at your life, not only this situation, but there are thousands of other things which you have dealt with. So times are changing, things are changing. The only thing that stays there is me handling that situation. Every time in a different way, every time different scene we are watching, observing, and going through, passing through. But how strong I am in that phase, that I will carry. Some people, when they break down during the situation is over, but they are still into depression. They are still into that stressful feeling. They are not able to regain their confidence, even if the problem is over. So, what is most important is I have to keep my inner strength intact. That's very important.
Right. So, Sister Sapna, it's beautiful thought of inner strength. And I feel, particularly, like if I just take my example, the inner strength comes when I feel happy, because you feel enthusiastic, you can feel more courage. And so my question is that, does this happiness comes from inside, or does it comes from outside in?
Definitely from inside. If it has to be permanent and I want to sustain that longer, then it is inside only. From outside also, in same achievement, if four people are receiving the same kind of awards or rewards, they might not be feeling the same amount of happiness. So it's depending on your attitude towards the life. Whatever is happening, if you are able to find out something positive in that, because there is definitely some benefit in that situation, that's for sure. So it's a kind of belief, like when I'm sharing with you, I'm sharing my belief system with you. So if I can sustain that belief system, that there is some benefit, might be hidden, not visible, but there is some benefit in that, then my attitude will be to find out that benefit. What is the benefit? So that way I'll be able to sustain that happy energy and to maintain my enthusiasm, my zeal, no matter what is happening. And that is the point where, even if it is a difficult time, I'm able to push myself. I am able to have that energy to come out of the problem, of the situation.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I think just the happiness definitely comes from inside, but sometimes the identification of this fact eludes us because we are so much surrounded by external things that we do not get time to probably reflect that if I was happy from the inner strength and from the inner satisfaction. So, Sister Sapna, this is definitely quite refreshing, and it's quite, again, gives a different lens to the areas of what we discussed about, why relationships are fragile and how we should look at the inner belief system and all. Now, if we see that, okay, we talked about special circumstances of these pandemics and people going into tremendous problems and still surviving. But if we look at even things are normal, then one of the other important thing which I see particularly, and I think I'm sure you would have heard and you would have seen as well, that despite all the things, we make a lot of friends, then some friends part away and some friendships fall. And this is the case with everyone. So how to create right friendships, or how to create true friendships? sometimes I talk to people like my age group, they say in the 40s or 50s, you cannot make friends because those are created in the early 10s or 20s. So how to really, make those good relationships even when you start aging as well?
Yeah, that's right. Because when you create friends at an early age, that's a very normal, natural tendency at that age to just easily trust the other person. And trust begets trust.
Right, right.
When you're very honest, very open with yourself, you don't have any hidden agendas behind that. So it's very comfortable kind of sharing. So when you grow up with that kind of honest sharings, so when even after you reach your 40s or 50s, that still remains that
Right,
kind of honest relationship. But when you start at 40s and 50s, you're already covered with so many other things around you because you have lived your life through manipulations. Sometimes, you've learned from this world to be in something else and showing something else. Inside and outside is not same. So that question which comes most important is the question of trust.
trust, right. So,
But if this is my question, then let me start from my side.
mhm, mhm.
Let me first heal this issue of what I think, what I speak, and what I do. If that is all in the same line, then the other person also get that vibes,
Right,
that vibration, that energy they can feel, and they can trust you easily.
right,
In
right.
my case, I trust people very easily. Sometimes when I was in China, some of the Chinese sisters, they used to tell me, Didi, you trust everyone so easily. It's not right. I said, if I trust them, they have to be honest.
Right,
This
right,
is how vibrations work.
right. So you mentioned that, hidden agenda and this vibration. So, sometime people come to me, maybe, and I'm just telling my example, I can only talk about my example, and they will praise me for you are wearing a great shirt and, you're looking so handsome, you're still looking so young. And I don't, I can accept those remarks or compliments, but I don't feel the trust in those statements. And uh, and then, someone will come and tell me that, this color you are wearing is not good, Mukesh, you should not wear this color. And I don't feel bad about that person. I feel, yeah, he's right. So sometimes you get confused that the person who was so sweet and telling you so much good about you, you're not trusting him. And the person who comes and tells you something wrong about you, that you feel trust about that person. So how does this trust really functions? Is it only
This is,
vibration?
like you said, that this is a very clear case of the feelings that travels in the form of vibrations, because before even you catch the words what they are speaking, your mind, your heart is receiving the vibrations, the energy, the kind of feelings they have for you. So sometimes their words are not matching with their own thoughts. It happens with many people actually. Inside, they might not be very comfortable when someone is coming and ringing the doorbell at a very odd hour. And then you open the door and you open it with a big smile on your face, but inside you're not very comfortable.
Right,
So that vibration can travel to the other person. Same thing is happening.
right.
So, but when I say that, let us start from our side,
Mm.
because the world is becoming like that. People around you, some are, for some people, situations are compelling
Mm.
them to behave like that, because they had maybe some not very good experiences with trust
Right,
trusting other people, so they might have closed themselves. But maybe when they see you as an individual and they come in your contact, they can change their perception about trusting people.
right,
So why not
Maybe
start
they
with
when they
my
see
own
you as
personality, that at least I become, you mean that, integrity in my personality, that what
right.
I'm inside and outside, I'm same.
Understood. Right, right. So
Mm.
now, in when this question of trust comes, trust, of course, we can say it is 0 or 1, or it can be in between as well, some number in between. Now, because we live in society, so it is not possible that those you don't trust, you just completely stop talking to them or stop dealing with them. You still have to deal with them either in office or maybe in whatever society. So then how to know that, how to adjust to them, and how long you can adjust, and when you should define that now you have to avoid these people. So sometimes these are very hard choices. Of course, you can say no to someone, that I will not come and meet you, I will not come to your party, or I will not I will not go to that gathering where that person is coming, or whatever. So sometimes you feel that, are you doing it right or not, though you may not trust that person, but okay, you are in a society, you can still manage. Nibha lijiye, you are in the society. So why, when to take that call, that you keep adjusting or when to avoid? So is there any direction in that?
Yeah, actually, like your last question was about making new friends,
Right.
and now it's about sustaining,
Yes.
maintaining the relation for long term. See, creating new friends is still okay, it's easy, but maintaining the relation, yes, it needs strength, it needs flexibility, it needs acceptance, it
Right.
requires a lot of values inside you. And first thing is that sustaining a relation is good, whether it is a relation with your own company, with your family, anywhere. I see many people, they keep changing jobs frequently. The other day only, I was talking to one person. He's 40, I think he's already changed 15 companies in his life. So it's,
They keep
you're
changing
not
jobs
able to
frequently.
accept the people.
The
You are
other
not
day
able
only,
to
I was talking
adjust.
to
So
one
you
person.
keep changing.
He's
For same way, divorce cases are happening nowadays.
Right.
And somebody was saying that if it was possible to give divorce in other relations also, people would be giving that also. But it's only in one relation which is possible. So that is practically what is happening now, because the percentage of tolerance and patience is reducing, because I just want my way. But understanding the importance of sustaining one relation for a long time, adjusting, is very, very high. If we understand that this is really important, yes. But when we know the sanskars of other people, the personality, the kind of nature they carry, and even after many kind of signals we give them, but still they are not changing, they are not transforming, they don't even realize. So sometimes we feel like avoiding. But I would still say, see the overall picture and how important and how close is that relation. Accordingly, sometimes you have to take a stand in a way that you don't announce it that it's like a breakup. No, it should not be like that.
Right.
All the people, those who come in our life, are important. So, but we can decide. We can decide the kind of distance I have to maintain. Distance in a way that, as long as it is not affecting my family, my values, my principles, it's okay to talk. It's okay to go to the party also. It's okay to communicate with them, socialize, only to that extent, until when they are not influencing my principles. So for that, I should be very clear about my principles and my standards of life, my value system.
Right. Yeah, I think this sanskar is an important factor, because that emanates the vibrations, which you receive or you also, give and take. I would also probably touch upon this fact that in relationships, of course, one is trust, but sometimes you may not trust someone because you not have spent so much of time, or may not have dealt so much. But sometimes you may respect someone in a very outward way. You may know someone for a short period of time as an acquaintance, and you may respect that. And sometimes there is a barter involved in some relationships. It's all give and take. So those give and take relationships are very hard to sustain, and somehow the respect and the trust doesn't come when there's a barter in a relationship. Now, because we live in a society, so it's very difficult to avoid that barter. So sometimes I get personally confused that does the friendship starts from barter, or does barter is actually a part of society, and it is a part of that, friendship or trust. So this framework sometimes is very confusing. So you should only, look for trust, or should only be respectful, or only just run the system of bartering, and maybe that is only friendship.
It's a combination of all the values, but when it comes to barter, and you see that you are feeling uncomfortable somewhere from your question itself, I can feel that because that doesn't seem to be very natural way of a relationship should be expressed. Maybe somewhere it started with just a way of expressing my love and care, that I do something for you, but then it is followed by the expectation in return, because I did something for you, so you should be also doing, you should be standing by my side when I need that. So this expectation is creating that barter system in the society, and somewhere it's like a burden, that because you have taken something, some kind of favor, so now you have to pay back, you have to give back in different ways, with your presence, sometimes only with your presence, even if you are very busy, but you have to be there because they were there to support you, even if you are not doing anything, you just have to be there. So things like that, when you feel like a burden, you really have to sort out, you have to sit back and redefine the relations. And when you're saying friends, you used the word friends again and again in this question. And if they are really your friends, then you should give, means both the parties should give that comfortable time with each other to communicate the honest feelings, that this is what you're feeling. So let us redefine what it should be, so that we can maintain this relation in a healthy way for a long term.
Right. I think I am also coming to this conclusion that this barter is a sort of a interwoven fabric, like a thread, which creates the fabric of the society. So if it is not too much of a burden and too much plasticky, still that should still be a part of the dealings. But yes, the respect and trust at the end of the day should be there, and that will be probably the vibrations you give and take with the right sanskar, maybe the sanskar also of your own self as well, because some people may not like to meet you, maybe your sanskar doesn't match their sanskar. So that is the way it goes. So yeah, beautiful. I think this gives a lot of clarity. I would come to another important question is on women. And in last 2.5 3 years, I have seen, and my wife Nidhi also talks to me, and she also is highly connected with a lot of corporate women and other women who are doing. And one thing which I feel is that women go through this identity crisis many times, and that creates a lot of challenges. So in that way, and women are the most important part of the family and the society and all the way. So in these circumstances, what would be the priority of a woman actually? Do you feel that they actually go more when it comes to relationships? I think they go through more because their expectations in relationships around them is significantly different.
That's right, actually. And again, it is all about how you define your own worth, on what basis they are defining, or maybe there are other voices since childhood, what they have heard again and again, repeatedly, and from their parents, from the society, from the kind of education and culture we have. According to that, sometimes the definitions given to them for their being worthy are depending on someone, always. Or maybe if they have a position, or if they don't have that kind of identity or label, which is, you can tell the society that I'm so and so, mostly for the housewives, and when they are, and even if they are working, but they have to deal with the house and the family most of the times, which is not given the required importance which actually should be. So that is why the definition given by the society is affecting their own definition of their self-worth as well. So if I think for that we can have another session sometime with the women. Maybe with Nidhi, I can talk to her sometime and we can have a healthy discussion on this part, which is very important because it's not one question, it's a complete scenario, it's a complete understanding that is required in this respect. But as an individual, I have to make time. This is the answer to all the questions actually, that I have to make time for myself,
Right.
for a positive, worthy self talk, to create that feeling of self respect,
Right.
self esteem, which I need and which is there actually. It is hidden, but I am defining my self respect according to other people's opinions, public opinions.
Right.
So I have to get back my control
Right.
of defining my own self respect with my own qualities, my values, and what I have done, achieved in my life in terms of my inner personality, which
Right.
is always there, which is permanent. External things might be changing, but what is permanent? That is my true value.
Right. I think it's a very important point. And as you rightly said, maybe a separate session on this, because what I could understand from the discussions and all is that women require a lot of recognition, sometime from outside, because sometimes they may undervalue their own self-respect. And maybe that's why the relationship equations become different for their part of the world. So now coming to another thing is for the children. And children, I know that in one of the sessions which you did with us earlier, you did a special session on children. But now children are, evolving much faster because of the exposure they are having. And because of that exposure, the relationship with their parents, and sometime, we are also parent. I have an 18-year-old kid and 11-year-old, and similar people like my age group and all, above and below will have the same things. uh, it's very difficult, even after the sanskars are there, that to know that would they, would they still be with you or not, and those kind of, sense of insecurities parents might have. So any views on that, what to inculcate in kids, especially kids of the NRI, people like us who are staying for decades outside, that, they still remain attached to the values of the Indian system, mythology or the soul, because sometimes their exposure world is totally different.
Actually, I would say that they are growing up in a global culture. Now they are not connected with one kind of culture or mythology or anything.
Right. Right.
So uh, it's not right to expect the same kind of things what you have done for your parents, or the kind of bonding you have with your motherland.
Right.
We can't expect, actually. That expectation itself is not right in a way. It's too much for them, because somehow, because of kind of circumstances for them was totally different. Upbringing is different, education is different, and the world is changing. Technology, now they have so much exposure.
Mhm.
So when we are happy, in one aspect we all are happy that, see, they know so much at this early age, they
Right.
have so much of exposure, we are happy for that. So at the same time, we have to be ready for the other aspects also, that they might have their own kind of choices.
Right.
Insecurity of the parents comes from the expectations only.
Right. Right.
uh,
From the expectations.
it is good that if they choose to stay with the parents, or in some way to support the parents in the later years of their life, but expecting that would create insecurity.
Right.
If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't happen also, you should have plan B.
Right.
And that has to be very firm and very profound kind of plan you should have for your life.
Right. Right.
Each one of us.
Absolutely.
Each one of us.
Sometimes jokingly,
Practically speaking, yeah.
sometimes jokingly I discuss with my wife, and also sometimes when friends of our group sit together, that probably after 20 years our kids are so exposed that, don't imagine that they will be around us. So we may need to find a common place, or let's take a location we can all of us can live together, so that we can have a
Yeah.
great time ahead as well, because somehow, because of this exposure, I feel these societies and individuals are becoming more individualistic. Why
Yeah.
we are getting this feeling, and we're getting more aware of all this, but somehow people
Mm.
are more individualistic. We can note this thing that in the same family of 4 or 5 members, everyone is in his own world of digital on their mobiles and
Yeah.
their own preferences. So a new universe has shaped around everyone. So it is very difficult to expect from each other, probably in going future and forward as well. So I think, yeah, you're right.
Although, until I would say, until they are there with you, try to give good sanskars and good atmosphere, but
Right.
without expectation of the result the way you want them to be. But at least they will be a nice person. He or she will be a good human being. To you have that responsibility which is given by the supreme, that yes, you take care of them until 20, 22, 25 years
Right, right.
maximum. Until then you can shape them, means that also you can just be the guide by their side. You can't really direct their life because every individual is different, but at least we can try to create a good atmosphere, because I have seen personally, and you must have realized that also, as you grow up, you
Right.
remember and you recall many things what your parents used to do,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
even if you were not in favor of that at that age, but later on you agree with them, and when you grow up, when you understand the situations, and when you become parents, you understand all that. So
So
somewhere, some wherever they are, they will remember those things. So at least we give that kind of upbringing to them. Wherever they are, they carry those values.
you're right. Actually, this is a very profound thought, because yes, in our memories as well, a lot of things parents used to tell us at that time. Probably we didn't care, but now we repeat the same things, and
Yeah.
also subconsciously it went into our hearts and minds. So, which means that we should keep on doing our job as well, of giving the
Yes.
right information and right knowledge. So this is
Just minus expectations.
yeah, that is true. That do your actions minus the expectations, and that also our Bhagavad Gita also says that you do your actions
Yes.
without return of any fruit for that, or any expectation. So that is right framework. The last thing I want to touch upon, and we are nearing the time, is that, and I can talk about myself from my reference, that let's say around 8-10 years ago, I used to get very angry on situations, things which happen around you. In last 8-9 years, it has gone down, but still getting rid of anger, or for that matter, anxiety, or is still not there actually. And I'm sure that the same thing is with many people. So in terms of anger management, long term anger, you may be angry for a long term with someone, you might be angry in a short span of time, the different kind of anger scenarios, right? So any guidance on that how do you do the anger management?
Anger also starts with expectation only, because we want the other person to behave in a manner that I feel is right.
Right, right,
And when I see that person not right, not right, not right for a long time, according to me, it's not right.
right,
So there is a point. For everyone, that ignition temperature is different,
right.
but it comes after some time
Right,
that yes, you just blast into that kind of anger. Or there are different ways of expressing anger also. For some ladies, like, they just stop talking, and some people, they are very aggressive, they are shouting different ways, but it is there. The reason, root cause is, I am expecting something which is not logical, because every individual
mhm,
is different.
right,
Everyone's way of thinking is different, everyone's role is different, nothing is matching. So how can his response in a
right,
particular situation can be same like my response? It's not possible. So the base, the foundation is wrong.
right, right, right,
It is where it starts. So to overcome that, first I have to just realize, tell myself,
right,
each one of them is unique. They are not wrong, they are just different. I have to tell myself this.
right, right. Yeah, I think one thing which I did try, and I can remember from your last discussion, was that try to be, empathetic about the other person when you are in any situation, very consciously. And in that circumstance, if things are not happening, the discussions or dealings, then maybe your reaction or your expectations go down. I think that's what worked sometime for me as well. That if you can develop more empathy and be on their side. But yes, completely getting rid of that is something is highly impossible. Maybe that's the journey all of us maybe have to take.
Yeah, if I keep the target, of course I can, because we were not born angry. No one of us. That was not our personality. This is what we have gained from here, and you just have to let go. This is something external. It's a virus which
Right,
we are actually taking from the society around us. And after some time, we started feeling that it is normal. So
right,
when you redefine the things for your personality, you have to redefine this as well, that
right,
this is not normal. Normal is being peaceful, and that is what I enjoy.
right,
That
right,
is where I feel right for
right,
myself also. At the end of the day, I should not be feeling guilt. I should not be feeling that I did something wrong. The end of anger is always with regret.
right.
So
Yes,
if
yes,
I have to regret every time, so at some point of time, I have to rethink that I need to change my response to this situation. No matter
absolutely. I
what
think
happens,
you
I
right.
keep my peace.
You rightly said that many times, we go into an anger response, and then immediately we feel regretful that maybe the response could have been different. So now, because the world is uncertain and there are uncertainties around, you can control your anger, but still sometime it may not be possible, and you feel regretful after some times. So now, if you are in that situation, how to calm down? If you are in that angry scenario, sometimes those scenarios last for many days as well.
Yeah.
Is the expression calming down, or there's another way of calming down as well?
No, I feel no, many people they feel that you should release your anger. If you're angry, you should just speak out, release it, and then feel light. And people do that also. But another thing, what is happening is when we talk about sanskars, we talk about nature.
Right,
Like if I am getting angry, if I'm really expressing my anger, so many times when I do the same thing again and again, it becomes my way, it becomes my nature. So
right,
I am creating a wrong way of expression as my personality.
right,
So somewhere I have to break the cycle. And to break the cycle, I need to, there is a little fight inside, there is a conflict inside whether I should speak or not, whether I should be. So at least I start with first step. At
right,
least I don't speak, I don't shout. This time I break this cycle here.
right,
But then I deal with the internal anger. First, I deal with outside expression. Then
right,
I deal with internal anger. That what is the use? I talk to myself. There's no use. Last time also I did the same thing. I
right,
am expecting a different positive response with the same kind of action I am taking before also.
right,
So how can the response be different? If you're doing the same things which you've been doing always, how will you get a different result? I
right,
want a different result. So I need to change the inputs.
right.
Same like your business models. If you want to change the results, you have to change the ways you've been following before.
Absolutely. Now you're right.
So
Actually,
for that, actually, you need inner strength. Again, I'm repeating that. And that is why positive reflections, meditation, making time for yourself every day, daily basis, appointment with yourself is very important.
right. Yeah, I think you rightly mentioned the positive reflection and meditation is a thing which gives you inner strength. And once your inner structure, the soul structure starts getting strengthened, then you can handle all these uncertainties and everything around it which is formed in physicality. So because otherwise, if you keep responding to the things as it, your even body becomes used to that feed, that the moment this trigger comes, you will express it to ease out, and then the body will become addicted in a way for that same response, and you may not get out of that. So that inner strength is very important. So Sister Sapna, today, I would say that in last 50 minutes or so, I think we covered a lot of ground. I can tell you that right from the definitions of relationships and how not to, build the expectation in that, how to create the right feelings, how to create friendships, how to deal with, of course, the women recognition, the children, the sanskars, the resilience, the patience as well, how to calm down the anger part. I think we really covered a lot of things. And I'm sure that once I will re-listen to this program again and into the podcast mode as well, because we'll publish on the Apple and Spotify podcast as well, it will definitely be a lot of good learnings, because we all have a tendency to hear and discuss good things, but then we forget around 80 to 82% of it again the next day. So it should be a constant reminder. So I'm very, very thankful that you came on today in the mid of all your busy schedule. And before we wind up, any last advice or any last words to the community here and the other members? It'd be very good.
I just want to say one thing, that I think most of us, we have that power to reflect, realize. But until now, most of the people, what they are experiencing is that the realization ends with regret only, and we stop there.
Right.
We should take a step forward after that, transformation. Once I realize something, I have to take at least one step every day towards my transformation, at least for one little habit of mine or something that I have already realized. For that, I take a thought, I take a determined thought, at least this I'm not going to repeat again. And for that, I get that strength, inner strength. It will happen. It will happen. Only one step at a time.
Fantastic. So I think today's session on, though we started discussing relationships, it forces us to that reflection. Meditation is important, but once we reflect on the doables, then we should go to the next step, a step at a time, for the total transformation. So, Sister Sapna, thank you very much for giving us this new mantra of reflection to the transformation. I'm sure that we will again organize something in more detail, but this session, when it will reach to people, and definitely there will be a lot of benefits people will get, because there were a lot of things which we discussed, and some of the other thing will resonate with different kind of people. So thank you so much for coming here, and I again thank you on behalf of UTalks audience, and I wish you all the best. I just wish that we can meet sometime soon, maybe in India, or maybe when the travel opens in China as well. I'm sure in next couple of months things will definitely get better. So Om Shanti.
Thank you so much. Om Shanti.
Thank you. Thank you very much.